I'm here to say, hear me now. This is a Soulfyah Productions. Soulfyah Productions.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'll try to make this quick. If sisters, even divestors, want to listen to this is fine, but I'm talking to you brothers. I want you brothers to be aware of a barrier to divesting that sisters are going to have to face. And I'm mentioning this to you because these sisters may not be aware of it, but these barriers are there. The barrier is not only white society discouraging white men from validating black women. The barrier is also something else. The barrier is also white adjacent men. Now, I want you to notice that the divestors pretty much they have a primary and a secondary focus. The primary focus is on white men. The secondary focus is on white adjacent men. It's always on the kind of men that are the least likely to desire, truly want, and validate them, and commit to them, and marry them, and take care of them. It's always these kinds of men. They're the ones that these divestors want the most, and the ones that want the sisters the least. So don't ever forget that. They are not playing about that. What I also want you guys to understand is that you cannot afford to take them back. The biggest mistake is letting them come back to you. And the way to make sure they cannot do this, not because we hate them, not because they don't have a right to a preference per se. Although I'll be honest, I don't respect the preferences of Western black or white women for that matter. But it's not because they have the right to no preference at all. It is simply because you're not their type. And we now know that many ladies will settle for exactly what is not their type for a living standard. But they can't stay with that. They can't stay faithful to that. That we know. And so to make sure that they don't have this, several things we got to do. We need to be on board about one thing. She played in the snow, and that includes white adjacent men like Chinese, Koreans, Arabs who call themselves white, Northern Indians, Pakistanis, Iranians. You can also call them Persians. They play in the snow, they stay in the snow. Once they go, they can't come back no more. Not out of hatred again. We need to make sure we don't try to stop them from doing such. I do not encourage anyone that is not a Wyatt to mix with Wyatts. I don't encourage that because they're the most sensitive to that. And oftentimes they think that because none of them are black, everything's okay, and they don't understand that to the Wyatts, they're still beneath the Wyatts, just above us. They don't realize that. And they don't understand that that can be bad for the kids, because when one of them has kids with someone that's just simply not another Wyatt, they can turn around and give the kids issues. They don't realize that. They don't understand that oftentimes the same things that might come up in them about black folks, the whites have in their subconscious or conscious minds about them too. But keep in mind, the two worst attitudes to have. So I'm not telling you this so that you stop them or you try to convince them not to. SWP, Clarence, let them go. As I stated before, that they're going to go. And they're not going to be there for you. You keep waiting for a sister, you'll be waiting forever. Trust me, I know. But you got to understand, for them, what they're going to learn soon, if they haven't already, is that white adjacent non-whites will reinforce the ideas that you do not commit to black women, because they're going to be able to do this in a very benign manner. See, a lot of them don't have a concept on their own of black women being inferior human beings, just less desirable as wives or even dates. That's what they are going to do, because a lot of them are so brainwashed, they take for granted that that's how it is. No malice necessary. No dehumanization necessary. Just black is less attractive, objectively. That's not my thinking. That's theirs. The Arabs assume this. Y'all didn't know that? Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there are Arab men that are Negrophiles. There are Arabs that want to be black. That does exist. They still have different attitudes about marrying black women. Some are fine with it, others are not. But they're all going to be socially questioned about that. Not ostracized. Not here, but questioned. And the questioning is enough for them. Why is your first wife black? Second, okay, fine. Third or fourth, fine. Why is your first wife black? Oh, your only wife? Why is your only wife black if you're not? Hell, if you're black and famous and rich, why is your only wife black? Now, if you're black and your first wife is black, they'll just assume you married her before you got rich and famous. That's how they think, and this is a nightmare to sisters. They think exactly like sisters would not want us to think. And they have it with no hatred, no understanding of racial hatred. Why would you commit violence against black people for being black? They don't understand that. You think the Arab is just as racist as the white man. A lot of y'all like to say that because you associate Arabs with Islam and you don't want to exercise the self-discipline. That's not true. And that's what makes it easier for them to come along and convince whites that they should not look at black women as marriage partners. What? Oh, yeah. Because, see, many whites understand that the idea that black women are lesser is taught in a social construct. They've at least heard this idea, even if they're racist to the core and they believe it, they still heard that it's just a social construct. Arabs think this is a human instinct. You see where I'm going with this? So then take the Chinese and the Koreans who have similar ideas, especially the Chinese. Don't believe it's a social construct. They think it's a human instinct. Even without hatred, even without violence. So they're going to make it more difficult for the divestors. Understand. Gentlemen, we need to not necessarily try to stop them, just keep track of who is. And we need to tell these young brothers, once you find out she played in the snow, you tell her to go back and stay in the snow. Don't let her come to you. And you take her seriously after she's been with one of them, because it means you ain't her type. Even if you are, the evidence is that you ain't. Why stick around? Leave. She don't want you. She gonna leave you. Darky. Got it? We need to let these young brothers know this. Not because we hate the sisters, but we just need to make sure that these sisters don't have a retirement plan, a plan B, when it doesn't work out with one of them, because consciously or subconsciously, sisters do know one thing that's very important for them to know, and that is that sisters understand that there is a low likelihood of these men staying with them and being committed to them. Much as they don't want to admit it, that's one thing they must know. It is very true. They are not likely to get the same commitment from them. It's not really black men who look and say the lighter the better. It's not really black men. It is actually non-black, non-white men that say this stuff or feel like it or just take it for granted in their subconscious, and they don't have to assume everybody's like that. It's them. So even liberal white men will have these ideas reinforced. And this is why sisters are going to find it hard. So they're going to come back. Crystal and Kerrison's not an anomaly. She's just the beginning of us noticing a pattern that's already pre-existent. I know. A former F-buddy of mine from before I became Muslim. She'd had a crush on me when we were in college, but she was too immature, too childish. Later on, as adults, we were bang buddies for a little while. She wanted a commitment. She was still a little bit too country rough around the edges. Looking back, I can say I shouldn't have given any ding-a-ling. I can look back and know that. And I should have said it even then. The thing was, I knew that I wasn't experienced enough for most sisters. At least I thought I wasn't. And I was wrong for buying into that. I actually thought I wasn't experienced enough for most women. And the thing is this though, I later found out that she played in the snow. Now she's since moved on. We never fell out or anything, nothing like that, but she moved on. And as far as I understand, I don't know if she ever married him, but she had one of their babies. Mind you, while having a crush on me, she used to make jokes about my phenotype. She said, I bet you lived on a plantation. I told her, you funny, but chattel slavery ended a long time ago. And yeah, we knew that even on the Gulf Coast. Mind you, she's from South Georgia, ain't too far away. She was like, no, dummy, I think your family owned people. But I was like, okay, see, get out of my face with that. She thought she was being funny. Ignorant self. If I had known that she used to play in the snow, I would have never laid down with her. And you know what? I didn't. Once I found that out, I didn't lay down with her. She needed to stay over there. Because what that meant was that I was only her type because of my proximity phenotypically to someone that's not black, even though I don't actually look white. I don't find that acceptable. Didn't find it acceptable even back then. That's why I said that we need to tell these young brothers what's happening and make sure that these young brothers know what's going on and know who ever played in the snow so that once she did, she can never leave the snow. Alaikum salam. I hope that this helps, gentlemen. Thank you all for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power because she don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction of judgment day.